Alright guys, we asked for changes and they delivered. Oh my god, this patch is massive. The changes are insane. Get your Lattices ready because the meta is about to have some new top tier units in there. This is some crazy changes. And we're gonna start off with one of the least interesting one in my opinion. Yeah, it's gonna be the Hellit. Now Hellit gets his damage increased to have 140% times 3. So pretty decent scaling on that note, and a decent shield on top of it as well. That said, it still can be stripped, right? It still can be stripped, and it's mainly they're making Hellit not as a anti-CC, anti-cleave option, but more of a cleave and CC option themselves as an aggro unit that you want to run very aggressively and trying to overwhelm your opponent. Is what I can tell from that. And then we have the Rosa. Rosa basically had a bit of an issue that what if your opponent just has a resist and then a lot of your damage is gone? Now she will always apply her passive, and that's quite big actually, because if you have a well speed tuned team, the Rosa follow-ups can take care of a unit very quickly. And I'm thinking not just the Revelation Rosa, I'm also thinking a count on the Rosa. Because if you have a count on the Rosa, let's say she's on count with the Rosa, she deals a good amount of damage. She still has the count bonus increase after her turn as well, because she has that bonus attack. And then she can just still, with her follow-ups, have the bonus attack from the count and do a lot of damage. That said, of course, you need good speed tuning, you need to be on top of your game, but this is something to consider. Now, this is something I know will make my friend Once Was Blind very happy. And that is gonna be Tsukuyomi now also reduces her own cooldown with her S2. Basically, before she was just a pure cleave unit. Now she's still an amazing cleave unit, but on top of that, now she can also act as a bit of a battery. In one way or another. Then we have the Bourne, and the Bourne is the first one where I'm like, okay, hold up now. And first up, 100% healing is quite impressive, and 10% bonus damage from his S1, not so impressive. Then 10% more damage on his ultimate, and strips 2 buffs instead of 1. That's actually quite big. So Bourne has already been like, some players have very strong Bournes, and he's been good there. He's been a sleeper, but he was never able to keep up with the big 3, being Rahu, Tiamat, and Holden. And this will help him survive in that one. But I think the bigger one than the Bourne is going to be Shiada. Now, Shiada looks very interesting, very scary in my opinion, guys. And that is this right here. Alright, she now doesn't only get attack and crit damage boost from her passive, she also gets F-res. Hold up now, what? F-res? Okay. And you might be thinking, yeah, that F-res is not gonna do enough, but bam! Damage taken 15%. 3 times. 45%, she has a better bloodbath in her kit. Now Shiada looks disgusting. I think Shiada is gonna be insane, and I don't have her. I need to pull, right, while the Wishbinder is up. Shiada looks insanely good here. And the F-res as well, right? 90 F-res, no one's gonna hit anything on her. That's insane. Shiada is insane. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. She's the new Tiamat. She's the new Tiamat, ladies and gents. Oh my days. This is scary. This is a scary stuff here with the Shiada. Wow. Especially if you have oh my god, I think Shiada is gonna be very much insane. That's a better bloodbath right there, because it's activating from 0% damage taken, right? So 45% flat reduced damage, instead of having 55% reduced damage after eating 20% damage. So that's super busted, honestly. And yeah, Shiada looking insane here. Shiada's, man, I hope I can get her. I hope I can get her. Next up we have the Nahor as well. Nahor now on his S2 will, on top of the strip and block buffs, also apply a freeze. That is very solid actually, to lock down certain units. And it's just a slight buff. They don't want to overbuff him, as control has been so strong in the current meta. And of course it's not a very healthy playstyle for the game if control is meta. Because people won't like that, because one part of the party won't be able to play the game. Then on top of that, they increased, right? They still increased his chances of inflicting the freeze by a large margin as well. So basically he always gonna inflict that freeze and the defense down now, right? He has a rest down, he has a freeze, he has defense down. He can stack a lot of debuffs now. Again, another unit that power creeps Colossus, at least in PvP type of aspect. Looks very scary for Cleave now, especially in conjunction with someone like a Batsby. I could see him be absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, with Batsby he seems to be nuts, honestly. I'm a bit worried about that, but we'll have to see how that's gonna work out. Of course, we don't have the Lattice to build all of these units, but Nahor, I mean, I don't have him either. Then Ninfoniel. Now Ninfoniel also a big buff, right? Now we're getting to the big ones. Like these first ones, meh. And then starting from the Bourne, okay, and then boom, Shiada, boom, Nahor, then boom, Ninfoniel is a big buff. And that is, she cleanses 2 debuffs from all of her allies with her S2. And that's massive. That is very, very massive. Because previously, the issue she had is really... Sure, you apply immunity and all with your S3. But what is that gonna do? Right? What is that gonna do when your units are already CC'd anyways? You need to be able to cleanse your units. And she's the first cleanser in the game now that doesn't have some RNG. Right? She just cleanses. Like a Doki Doki, when she's block buffed from Heinrich, not gonna do anything, right? And the Linglo is just a random if she wants to cleanse or not. It's really depending on her mood. And then Ninfoniel, getting that buff is massive. And on top of that, you need to consider what is even bigger for the Ninfoniel. Right? Ninfoniel, I think Bokyu is gonna have a field day in the next season. Because I know he has a very well invested Ninfoniel. He has a very well invested Bourne. And Shiada also got buffed. I think these buffs on attack scaling units like that make Ninfoniel insanely busted. I think Ninfoniel is insane. And the next one is also a very... like, these buffs are crazy that we're gonna go through here. Oh boy. Next one is gonna be Lilith. And the Lilith, ladies and gents, is gonna basically... a well-invested Lilith. There's a certain guy named Hades, right? In the high ranks. And this guy has a crazy, crazy strong Lilith. And a well-invested Lilith can lock down an entire team by herself. Just like a Kaz was able to do. Lock down an entire team by herself at the right spot. And, here's the thing. Now, her damage is insanely improved. What that means, look at this. She deals 24% of her max HP to all allies with her S2. With 100% chance to inflict speed down for 2 turns on all targets. Still the same. Deals 1 additional instance of damage to 25% of the main target's max HP. So just percentage damage. This increases, cannot exceed 30% of Lilith. But usually Lilith has higher HP than her target anyway. So it's basically just 25% HP of the target is gonna be gone on top of the other damage from her S2. And sounds scary, I'll be honest. Sounds very scary, that extra damage that she's gonna be able to push. She's very good with the plume together as well. And yeah, it's a bit scary because the same thing is gonna be done to her graceful mischief, right? Her bombs. Now the bombs will also do 25% max HP damage to her targets. And that's scary. Lilith, very scary. Also one of the big winners. I think Lilith, Ninfoniel, and Shiada are so strong after this. Then Selins I also think got very big increase here. And that is her S2 now at the start of the battle applies a 30% HP shield to all allies. So you can think of it of a 15k shield, around 15k shield, if you just run a full HP Selins. And this way, to prevent aggro, to prevent cleave. Now, is it gonna be very strong against cleave? I'm not sure. You kinda need some tempo to disrupt the cleaver anyways. But it's gonna make it that if you have a Selins, the Messiah will at least not be able to one turn kill you. It will take 2 turns. W Selins in the chat, come on. And then on top of that, Selins will now, instead of just an attack down and forgetfulness, she will also, she will put down a crit rate down and forgetfulness instead of the attack down? Or does she do a crit down and forgetfulness? Think about it, hold up now. Let me check the Nahor as well, that I didn't miss that. How did they word it on Nahor? Is it to inflict defense down and rest down for 2 turns and freeze. And here, okay, so I think the attack down is gone and they make a crit rate down in there. Because the crit rate is going to be a bigger, better debuff for most cases. So Selins might actually see some use now. Oh boys, guys, so many Lattices. So many Lattices. And I'm still thinking if I am ending up top 8 right now. I have 6 Lattices, right? I'm currently in top 8 in the rankings. If I end up top 8, I'm gonna invest all of my Lattices into the units for the tournament. And then I won't have any Lattices for the buffed units next season. That's just how it is. That's something I'll have to deal with. And yeah. It do be like that, right? It do be like that. That's something we'll have to deal with. And next up we have the Hoi Yan. Just a flat damage increase, right? 450 to 520. Now, that might make it that she one-taps a Bloodbath Yelly. Then Yelly, slight damage increase, gets a 50% chance to steal a buff. Very annoying. But a slight damage increase on the Yelly's part for the cleavers. Big ups to the cleavers on that note. And then Tsumoto, he's actually been a decent unit already. Gets some base stats increases. Gonna be interesting to see how that performs. Then Nal gets a speed increase. I think Nal is a dogshit unit. Victor, big. Victor, I think the Victor nerfs after beta were too much. Now he gets his big damage increases again once his HP is lower. That said, there's so much damage in the game at the moment that it's hard to have him at low HP and deal his extra damage. Very hard. Considering all these buffs on the likes of... yeah, it's gonna be still hard to draft them, I think. Then we have the Rampage Rin. So she has a 100% chance to inflict taunt. This is for against the cleave, right? The cleavers now got the Yelly dealing more damage and they got some other buffs as well. So we're also getting something against the cleave, so you have a higher chance to inflict that. This is mainly against the cleavers. And then we have for the cleavers again something that is going to be the Rindian Bout. Is going to deal more damage and has more scaling on her speed increase. So that's on her S2 for the follow-up. I think the main thing on the Rindian Bout is you want to use S3. I think once you get to the S2... it's already usually, yeah, it's over. But definitely interesting to see. Then we have Keeper Kazami Kazio, the red Kazio. She now increases the cooldown of all the target's animal skills by 2 turns instead of 1 turn, so a budget Holden. And she has a 75% chance, yeah, budget Holden S2 basically. And then her S3... again, it's just cycling all her units' allies' skills by 1 turn and applies speed up and accuracy up for 3 turns. Okay, accuracy up is interesting actually. So she'd be probably decent for control, thinking about this. As she will be able... Yeah, that looks very strong for control as a cycling unit. Then we have Kazio the Revery. The good ending. The good ending. Wow. Kazio the Revery. 1 turn sleep instead of 2 turn sleeps. And on top of that, turn meter pushback to 10%. So Kazio the Revery getting butchered, ladies and gents. Come on. Give it up. Give it up. Take her out. Take her out. Get her out of here. Freis, freis, freis. Is what we say in Switzerland. And then we have RC77 skill reduced to 3 turns to be same cooldown as the Revelation. That's the only reason they did this. This is actually massive for him to be having that on same cooldown as Revelation. Then we also have some shell adjustments. First up we have the Alicorn. Dispels 3 debuffs. This is very big. I think the 2 debuffs dispel was just terrible. 3 debuffs is finally something to consider. We'll have to see how good that's gonna work out. Then next up the White Fang and the Halloween. I think the White Fang was the worst gel in the game. Together with the Fortissimo in PvP aspect. Now the White Fang will increase the crit by damage by 8% instead of 6. And have 8 stacks instead of 10. So does more damage faster, stacks faster. That's all there is to it. I think it's still not going to be very viable for PvP actually. In most cases. Most units don't really, not a really big fan. Then Halloween getting 100% chance to increase reduce cooldown. I think that's big. I think that's a very much appreciated for everyone. I don't think anyone has anything against that. Then Codex of Magic. Now Codex of Magic is getting nerfed. Codex of Magic has been the... After Plume's release, I think Shackleguard took a little bit of a hit. And Codex of Magic has been the king still for the cleavers especially. And now it's still the same for cleavers, it's just worse for turn 2 players. And that is, once the Codex of Magic activates, it will increase the max cooldown of the skill that has been used with the Codex of Magic by 1 turn for the rest of the battle. And we'll have to see how that's gonna work out. I'm a bit worried that there's gonna be some bugs with this, and we'll have to see. And then we have Arena Effect, Close Combat. After all enemies have acted a certain cumulative number of times, damage dealt by both sides increases by 20% and healing received and shields applied reduces by 20%. The first trigger requires 20 cumulative actions and the subsequent triggers require 15 cumulative actions. So the games are gonna be a lot faster, especially with all of the buffs and changes. I think the games were actually not that slow already. I think I basically never had a game go to 100 turns or 80 turns or anything like that. People evolved, people adjusted their picks and learned to deal with these multiple healers very well. So yeah, it's decent, I guess. It's decent. Game's gonna go faster now. They were pretty fast already, honestly, and I think we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. I think the faster games also are pretty good for Bourne, because Bourne is very good in closing out games, as he has just a big nuke that can do a lot of damage, but usually it's kind of ignored because of the healing being so strong. But now with the increased damage and the healing stacking up fast, Bourne can close out games very fast. And that's already it from my side. Let me know what you guys think of these changes. I think this changes basically everything. The whole meta is gonna shift. Lilith looks insane. I think the Alicorn changes are nice, but Lilith looks insane. I think Shiada looks very strong as well. And Bourne could be decent. And Selins is also one to look out for, definitely. But the Lilith, okay, We'll have to see about that one. But yeah, this is already it from my side. I wish you guys all a blessed day. Stay tuned for more, and I'm out. Peace.